All right, so if you are not in a place where you can see the screen, feel free to move and adjust now. I am going to go ahead and kick things off, and my name is Kelsey, so it's nice to meet everyone here. I do want to kick it off with introductions. So as everyone kind of gets seated today, what I want to do is after the count of 3, I want everyone to say their name out loud, okay? After the count of 3, okay? So 1, 2, 3. Kelsey. Cool. Well, my name is Kelsey. It's nice to meet and connect with each of you today. So thank you for spending your time with me. It's going to be jam-packed, so I've got a lot of things planned for the next hour, give or take. Let's start things off with some logistics. So if you don't have one at your table, grab a sheet of paper. On one side, there's a section so you can take some notes. On another side, I have a glossary with some terminology that I'll be using throughout the presentation that you might want to refer back to if you need some greater clarity as we go along. Yeah. Yeah, and then the slides will be emailed. So I've included a number of resources throughout the presentation. Then you'll see little buttons here and there that'll say like download the guide. And so once you receive these via email, probably this weekend, you should be able to download and access all of those resources. Feel free to take any pictures though of the slides, just make sure you get my good side. All right. Okay, so as we get settled here, just talk briefly about my history. So again, my name is Kelsey Webb. I'm the founder and master connector. I love making connections of Rain Social. So Rain Social, it's a social media marketing and podcast agency. I'm actually based in Wichita, but I've lived in Kansas City before, so have connections. And I think I presented back in 2019 at GEWKC. So lots of things have changed since then. So excited to be back again. I'm going to go through some of the small text. Again, like I said, you'll receive these slides afterwards, but starting off, so I studied abroad in Paris in 2014, and as a part of being in a group of 250 international students, I was in one of my classes. We were to build and run a company for the semester. And as a part of that company, I assumed the role as public relations manager. And so my goal was to spread the word about our project and spread the word about what we were accomplishing during that semester. And I chose social media to do that. So throughout the semester, I was so fascinated by the fact that I was thousands of miles from home and I could connect with people from all over the world at the touch of my fingertips. So I utilized social media back in 2014, really fell in love with it as a means of connecting with people. And you can read this when you receive it. If you haven't checked out my website, I will invite you to do so. But my stories, I've been all over, so including Denver, living in Kansas City, now back in Wichita. And then today I'm back kind of Rain Social 2.0. So if you go check out my social media, there's an evolution that you'll see. Just rebranded, launched a new website. So back with Rain Social 2.0, helping entrepreneurs build authentic connections through social media and podcast. So why rain? I get asked that question a lot. And I do break out in the hives when I public speak. So I know that it's happening. If you're curious, like I can feel it right now. But Rain is actually my middle name. So I believe I was in my living room in Kansas City back officially in 2018 when I founded Rain Social. And I came up with the hashtag Make It Rain Social. And that was inevitable. So here we are. We're making it rain. So I'll use punny references throughout. Just go with it. All right. So who here can relate to this when it comes to your relationship with social media? That's what I assumed. Okay. I think you're in the right place. And so I have a few goals for you today. So my hope is that in the next hour, you're going to leave feeling a bit more empowered and confident, putting yourself out there on social media. If you, again, go over to my website, social media and marketing is really the art of putting yourself, your essence, your energy out there. And so that's really what I convey with Rain Social. And I also hope, there's a lot of information. I have a lot of slides. So there is going to be a forecast for a slight chance of overwhelm. If you don't feel overwhelmed by the end of the session, I probably didn't do my job. We are talking about social media, so I'm sure you're a bit triggered already, right? Especially if you answered to your relationship being it's complicated to social media. So Don't worry, we're in this together though. So I want to kick things off. And I hope more than anything, out of everything I've shared with you today, that you'll at least choose 2 to 3 things that you want to take with you. So that's why you have a note section. For those that have kind of came in, feel free if we've got some extra chairs. If you want to come up near me, I won't step on you either, but grab a glossary and a little sheet to take some notes. All right, so here's the outline of what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction. So what is a social media strategy? We're going to talk about the need to setting clear goals and objectives. We're going to talk about the importance of understanding your audience. I'll share an overview of some of the platforms, which will help you determine where you need to be and be putting yourself out there when it comes to social media. We'll take a pause because breathing and drinking water is great. And then I want to run through the content creation framework that I've made up as time goes on. Going back to my background, I actually have a business management degree, and I learned social media on my own, so self-taught through the past 10 years of experience out in the world and working with entrepreneurs. So I'd like to share with you what I've learned throughout this time as well. And then we're going to talk about monitoring and analyzing. And then I know we're here to discuss 2024, it being November, so we'll talk about some upcoming trends as well. All right, so some staggering statistics. Who likes data? Statistics? Okay, cool. So in 2023, there are estimated to be 4.89 billion people on social media. I thought this was insane. So the average person bounces between about 7 different social media platforms per month. So now you're going to go home and count your social media platforms. But and then the average time people are spending on social media now is higher than ever at 151 minutes. And I did the math ahead of time. That's about 2.5 hours. So a day, yeah, that's pretty interesting. And then what do you think the leading reason for social media use is? It hasn't changed. So why do you get on social media? Anyone? Entertainment? Okay. Actually connecting with your friends and family. So keeping in touch with friends and family. So that has remained the same across the board. So social media strategy, you can see it on your glossary as well, but social media strategy is a comprehensive plan outlining how you will achieve your objectives by using social media, which will also lead you to your business goals. So there's a few steps to creating a social media strategy. I'm going to go quick. I told you I was. You'll get these afterwards, so don't worry. As you can see, kind of on the left, if you can read it, sorry if you can't, but I outlined some of these. We're going to talk about some of these key components today during this conversation. I wanted to include this slide because what you see kind of in the sidebar on the right side are things that I also include when I'm putting together a social media strategy for a business, and things that you probably should consider if you're going to build one for yourself as well. And so that's optimizing your content for engagement. It's going to be collaborations, partnerships, advertising and promotion if you're doing some paid social media. It's going to be some competitor analysis, and then crisis and reputation management. Couldn't include it all because we have a lot to cover, but just keep in mind that that is also what should be included in a social media strategy. All right. So the success of social media, we're really going to talk about the plan. I mean, this whole workshop is in the plan stage right now. But I meet with entrepreneurs and business owners every day, and most people are spending a lot of their time in the execution stage and wondering why they aren't seeing the results, the traction. They're just kind of spinning their wheels, literally. But if you can back up, and which is why this conversation is so important, and really hone in on the planning and the foundation part of this wheel, then that'll help when you're executing, putting yourself out there on social media, when you're going to go and you want maybe monthly measuring how well you're doing, and then also coming back and adjusting that. So it's kind of the evolution of success on social media marketing, and I wanted to highlight that for you right here. So let's start it off with setting clear goals and objectives. A social media objective is a goal that a business or individual aims to achieve through their presence and activities on social media. So they help to focus your efforts, measure the impact and success, and then demonstrate how social media is working for your business. So raise your hand if you've ever felt stuck or wondering, if all the time and energy you spend on social media is actually working. Okay, cool. Well, the plan is, again, what we're going to be talking about so that you can feel confident moving forward. So how do you define a successful social media objective? Some of these are tongue twisters. Let's start with the first thing. So I want you to grab your notes if you aren't already taking some, and let's write down some business goals that you have for 2024. I guess raise your hand. Who here owns a business? I assume we're at Entrepreneurship Week. Okay, cool. So if you haven't started to think about your business goal for 2024, here you go. Now's the time. So if you have a business goal for 2024, write that down. I'm going to keep talking. So examples, if you're at the back of the room and can't read this, opening a second location in downtown Kansas City is a great business goal. Increasing your brand visibility is another one. And then we've got achieving a 20% or whatever percentage increase in annual revenue would be another example of a business goal. I want to give you a minute because I'd like to hear from the audience. Anyone have a business goal they want to share? Yeah.
6 figures next year.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Cool. We'll put energy into that. There you go. Anyone else want to share? Yeah.
Started an e-commerce with my business.
Oh, love that. Starting an e-commerce business site. Okay. Yeah.
Brand ambassadors.
Brand ambassadors. Cool. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so that's a great place to start because, all right, so everything we do in the business, so if we're thinking about marketing tactics, today we're talking about, social media as one marketing tactic. But if you think about it, we're here networking today, but do you attend networking events? Does everyone kind of attend networking events? Do you have a general idea if you want to meet 10 people a month, maybe close 1 or 2 of them? That's an objective for networking. So that's what we're doing for social media. Same with email. A lot of people talk about open rates when it comes to email. So if you're doing some email marketing and you're like, oh great, I hit that 20% open rate for this last email, that would be another objective, just a different marketing tactic. So we're going to work in the social media objective space because all of that is going to lead us to achieving our business goal. So I also meet with a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs that maybe their first step at putting themselves out there is really in social media. So there's usually a lot of pressure with my job because it's maybe only one marketing tactic that they're using in their business to put themselves out there, but it is just one thing that can help you move the needle so that you can achieve those business goals of 6 figures, of brand ambassador, e-commerce business. And so we want to include and start to create and think about how we can be successful on social media so that we can drive the success of our business goals, if that makes sense. So let me make sure I didn't miss any points. Cool. So here's different types of social media objectives. So maybe, is everyone on social media for their businesses? Everyone that raised their hand on social media? Okay. Love-hate relationship maybe? Okay. So maybe on social media, your purpose, or at least something you're paying attention to, could be like, I just want to increase my followers. Or, I want to get more engagements, those likes, those comments, and those shares. Does anyone have an idea of what your objective on social media might be just during this conversation right now? Okay, website traffic, cool. Anyone else?
Email engagement.
Okay.
Newsletter.
Get newsletter signups? Okay, yeah, awesome. So sharing information about your newsletter and then redirecting them to sign up to your newsletter. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's some examples over here. So one would be increasing the number of followers on social media platforms by 20% in the next quarter. So we want to get smart with it. So if you haven't heard that terminology before, it's marketing slang, I guess. It's a real thing though. So you want to get specific, you want to get measurable, you want to get attainable or achievable, depending on and then relevant and then timely. So going back to these objectives that are listed here, and the one that I read out was increase the number of followers on social media by 20% in the next quarter. So I would say that that's a pretty specific goal. It is measurable because it has the percentage attached to it. It is achievable. You're not saying I want to increase my followers to 1 million. I would say that that's an achievable goal. It's relevant to your industry, whatever industry that example is in, and then it's timely, it's time bound, so it's bound by time, like we want to achieve this in the next quarter. So that is a smart goal, smart objective for social media as you start to think about how you want to set your objectives so you can measure your success. I do have a guide, so you might say, how'd you come up with that 20%? I found a cool formula online, so I put it together in a pretty little package, and you'll be able to download that. And so say you want I want to get to 1,200 followers. It'll show you how to do that and what percentage that would be, and then you can add that to your social media objective. So,
Can you give us an example of a B2B objective?
oh, a B2B objective. I mean, if you were to use LinkedIn, you could get specific with LinkedIn's a great B2B platform. So you could say you want to, increase your connections on LinkedIn or increase your following count by 20% in the next quarter. That would be an objective, just without knowing much more information than that. But that would be an example, as how I'd use social media for B2B. That's usually one of the first platforms I go to for B2B. Understanding your target audience. All right, so a target audience is the specific group of people that you want to reach with your marketing. That means all your marketing collateral should appeal to this group, and with everything that you do on social media, you want to keep them in mind. So we'll talk about that a bit more. First, identifying target market versus target audience. A target market is who your product or service is intended for, whereas a target audience is the specific group of people within your target market. So one example is your local store for baby products, and the target market is Kansas City, but actually your target audience is Kansas City families. So you're just getting specific with who is you're targeting. And the importance of this is you want to know where your people are hanging out online. So this is one of the steps that I go through when I'm putting together a strategy and working with businesses, because I want to know where they need to be spending their time. Good example might be I have a lot of businesses because they might approach me and think, oh, I need to be on Instagram. Everyone's on Instagram. And their target audience might be 50 and older, and 70% of people on Instagram are actually under 35. So that isn't somewhere that I would say this needs to be your number one platform of putting yourself out there. And you also need to know how you can create content and messaging that resonates with them too. So good reason why we have this conversation before the platform overview, which is next. So there's a few steps to finding your target audience. You can look at your existing customers. Who here is a new business? Okay, so you're pretty new. So you're getting to know your customers like in the moment, which is a great time to be asking them questions. If not, I feel like everyone else hopefully has a good idea of who it is their ideal customer is. And that's what we're trying to do here, is identify your target audience so that you can create that persona, marketing persona. And then you want to audit your social media following. So I'm hopeful this video will work. And if you can't see it in the back, you will get this afterwards. But Facebook and Instagram, I've given two good examples of how you can audit your social following, and you can begin to identify who your audience is on through these platforms in specific. I would assume they're the two most used platforms, so that's why I used them as an example. So on the back end of your Meta Business Suite, you'll go to Insights, and then there is a space where you can click on Audience. And so if you probably can't see it, but on one side is Facebook, one side's Instagram, if you have a business page. And then this will give you a really cool insight into if your demographic, what their gender is, what their age is, and where they're located. So bare minimum, but it's a good place to start, and it's free for you to just go and check out your Facebook audience.
And what tab is that on the left-hand side with the little blue highlight?
Yeah, so you have to go to your business page and then go to Meta Business Suite and then Insights.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then on Instagram, so if you have a phone, feel free to get it out and get on it. If you have a business profile set up on Instagram, you can view your professional dashboard. And then if you scroll and click on target total followers, you can change the date range. But I like Instagram Insights. It gives you a little bit more than Facebook does, I feel like. And then you can scroll through that section and find out where they're located, what, again, their age and gender are. And then I get this question all the time is, when do I post on social media? Well, Instagram includes it. So like right down here, when you're looking at the slides again, if you have, I think, over 100 followers, it'll give you some of this data. But on Instagram, you can see the most active times and days that your followers are online. So there you go. That's on Instagram. I don't think that there's that functionality. Danielle, have you noticed that on Facebook? It's hard to find, yeah. And some businesses, I don't get that on Facebook. So it should be available if you have over 100 followers and you have an Instagram business profile. So Another step is using Google Analytics. So if you have a website, Google Analytics is a great place to start. You might even have more traffic right now on your website versus your social media channels. So that's a really good space to be to start to dig into your audience a bit more. This is very high level. We're not really digging super deep, but at least you're going to get to understand, okay, wow, my audience is a little bit different than maybe what I originally thought. So I need to start messaging differently, or I need to be elsewhere when I'm promoting on social media. So you can use Google Analytics to look for demographics, referral sources. So where are your people coming from? Are they coming from social media to your website? Is that working? Or are they coming from other websites? Sometimes, depending on your Google Analytics, you're able to see what terms they're searching for on your website or to get to your website, and then any pages they resonate with. So good thing to just keep top of mind as you're digging into your audience. And then take notes on your competition. So who are they targeting? What channels are they using? What is their messaging? And then how does their audience compare to yours? And there's also a cool feature in Insights, again, same space. So if you notice throughout the video, if you could see it, we were on this audience tab right here. Right below it is benchmarking. And then there's another tab that says businesses to watch. So if you're a local business or you have an idea of who your competitors are and they have a Facebook profile, go and add them and you can see how their pages compare to yours, which is a really cool function and tool to use. So I usually do that when I'm setting up my client accounts on the back end too. So we can just keep an idea of where we're at as it relates to their businesses. I was onboarding a client recently and there's a big brand that his audience really compares himself to. And when we get into the analytics of it, I mean, he's more successful on social media than this other brand. And so it's interesting what diving into this will show you about your brand. So that's why I wanted to give you some of these steps. And then the fifth one is identify the gaps. So define who your target audience isn't. So I gave the example earlier about the local baby product store. So maybe you can only serve people within a 50-mile radius. So your gap is anyone outside of that radius. So you're just getting more specific and defining who your target audience isn't. So, all right, we're keeping on. How are we doing on time? All right. Platform overview and selection. So I like to do this part, like I said, after the objectives, after we talk about the target audience. A lot of people want to start there. Where do I need to be spending my time? I was like, we don't know enough yet. So let's dive in. But the objectives, there are guiding stars, and then the platforms we use should align with these goals that we have. And then you want to consider how each of the platform, their unique features and their use cases also help you achieve your objectives. So continuing on that note, you want to consider these factors when you're evaluating where you need to be. And you might be on a few platforms already. So this might be a good time to refresh. Okay, is this where I really need to be spending my time? Or what should I prioritize here? You don't need to be on 3 platforms. Start with 1, get good at that, expand as you feel capable, because it's time consuming. But you want to consider these factors when you evaluate your platforms. You want to consider demographics, so who's there? You want to consider features like what can you do while you're there? And then use cases, how are people using the platforms? So this next slide, I'm gonna have to read it. So, but this is such a fun slide. So I took not the top 5 because LinkedIn isn't in the top 5 of the most important social media platforms, but I use these the most across the board of any of the clients that I work with. So Facebook, they just surpassed 3 billion monthly active users, I think August or something. So 3 billion people, that's a lot of people. And then if you think about that, their user base stands to be, there's more population than the US, Canada, and Mexico combined. So that's crazy. I've given you some demographics, some key features, and some use cases. I don't want to read all of them, but the things that really stood out to me as I was digging into the analytics and updating them since my last presentation are always fun for me, so I like to share that. And then did you know with Facebook, 70% of American adults use Facebook. That's a lot. An average American spends 33 minutes a day on Facebook. And then India leads the world in total Facebook users with over 329 million. So I have a couple sources on this one too that I'll include. I think it's in the top right corner. But you can dive into the analytics and you'll get all kinds of different numbers depending on where you search. But Instagram has over 2.35 billion monthly active users, and over 500 million of those are active daily. So another big platform. I guess I could talk about the demographics a little bit. So it is predominantly popular among younger demographics, and I think at the bottom, the did you know, 70% of total Instagram users are under the age of 35. So that's interesting. Reels take up about 30% of the time people spend on Instagram. And then Instagram is the 6th most visited website. So I thought that was interesting too. And wow, a total of 4.2 billion likes are registered on Instagram daily. That's a lot of likes. A lot of likes. Yeah, a lot of taps, you know. Twitter or X, they're actually seeing a decline in users. Good luck on your session. They're actually seeing a decline of their audience since it can transition to X, you know, Twitter. But they have over 666 million monthly users. The demographic is definitely used by professionals, celebrities, and journalists. Would be that the majority of the population. And then, what does that say? 53% of Twitter users use the platform to get the latest news. I definitely go there first. So real-time results, real-time. If I'm wondering what's going on with the weather, I'm going over to Twitter. That's the only reason I still have it, to be honest. And the latest statistic, I didn't pull a new one for this, but the last time I gave this presentation, the average tweet only lasted 14 minutes. So it is a real-time platform. People are using that platform for real-time updates. So I don't have any of my clients on that platform. One, it doesn't align with their strategy, but two, you have to be really committed to being on Twitter. And in those kind of demographics, or targeting those demographics of professionals, celebrities, journalists. So just something to note. LinkedIn is only 900 million users, but it's in 200 countries. So LinkedIn is definitely a global platform. So is Facebook, but LinkedIn is definitely professionals. It's more of the business. A lot of my B2B clients are on LinkedIn, or at least have a presence on LinkedIn. And then did you know on LinkedIn, so the US has the highest user rate in the world on LinkedIn. Let's see, with an audience over 202 million. And then there are over 61 million companies on LinkedIn too, which is fascinating. YouTube. I was kind of surprised by these statistics, but so there's over 2.7 billion monthly users that log in. I think what I was surprised about is the average watch time is only 20 minutes per day. I thought it was longer than that, but nearly 90% of all visits to YouTube are mobile. So that's when you want to know, okay, how do I need to target, what graphics or what kind of video format do I need? People are using mobile devices. You want to make sure it's mobile compatible. And wow, this is crazy. So 500 hours of videos are uploaded to YouTube every minute. Every minute. That's a lot. And then we get to take a break. Just a pause. Let me take a drink. This is my reminder to take a drink. Maybe the hives are going away. I'm not sure. I still feel hot. So basically, if you can't read it in the back, it says, breathe. That's a good thing to remember. And then don't let the information overwhelm you. I mean, your commitment to being here today is the first step you need to take in order to start showing up for yourself online. So that's why we're here. Let's talk content. All right, so content pillars. Similar to what the word pillar means. I mean, content pillars are really your support. They're kind of your guide when you're starting to think about posting on social media. So your content pillars, their themes or topics from which a variety of content can be produced. Pillars should align with your brand, they should resonate with your audience, and they should support your business objectives. What I like to do when I'm first starting off with a client too is use Google Sheets. You can see pictures here, and I've just created some buckets, and I've started brain dumping everything. So I don't know if as an entrepreneur you're keeping like a note of all the things and ideas you have, or if you aren't, do, because it'll get it out of your mind for a little bit. But Google Sheets, I use Google Sheets, and I just create some content pillars. We'll talk a bit more on the next slide about getting further with the content pillars, but I just start brain dumping all the ideas of what I could post about online as it relates to the business I'm working with. So content categories. What you want to do after the brain dump is you want to start to identify what content category, like what category your content is, because it's important to get a mixture of these categories. So you want informative content, you want engaging content, you want to have some inspirational content, and then you want to have some content that converts. A lot of people that I work with maybe spend a lot of time in the converting content, but I think the statistic or the number used to be like, you want to talk about some of the inspirational and the engaging stuff about 70% of the time, and then more of the selling, putting yourself, your business out there, like me, about 30% of the time. But the goal with that in the mindset of how I use it is, if you can get people to engage with your other content, they'll see your sales post. They'll see those other posts that you're putting out there, that you're informing them or you're trying to convert them to take an action. So if you can't read it, I'm going to read a little bit of this for you. Informative content, it provides valuable information, it educates your audience, and positions your brand as an authority in your field. So that could also include like how-to guides, tutorials or industry insights. And then engaging is fostering interaction with your community, your social followers. And so this could be like polls, asking them questions, typing something fun, and then asking, drop a heart emoji if you relate to this. I mean, that's what I would consider to be engaging content. You're asking for their engagement, or your content is eliciting that you want them to engage by asking them a poll, asking them a question, putting a quiz out there. So, and then inspirational is definitely content that motivates your audience on a personal or an emotional level. So this could be, behind the scenes, looks at your brand. This could also be inspirational or motivational quotes. Again, just with the goal of connecting more authentically with your audience, so that when you get to the converting content, which I know we're all here to make money, right? Who's here to make money? Cool. So we have content that we want to convert to an action. And if you're doing social media organically, which I'm sure everyone is, which just means you're not paying for social media, if you know how to use the platforms, you can really get it to work to your advantage. And that, to me, which is how I founded my business, is just about making authentic connections with your people. I mean, everyone's behind a screen. We're all just trying to connect with each other. I would say across the board, one thing that we all have in common is the desire to connect, even if you're an introvert and you don't like people. But so that rings true on social media. So if you can represent your business as a business that just wants to connect with your people online, you'll see great success on social media. More types of content. So I love using monthly themes. When I'm building out a content calendar, which I didn't include that slide, darn it. But I do use Trello to build my content calendars. You can also use Google Sheets. Yeah, I heard a woo woo, yep. Trello is awesome. It's a content management, project management system. Maybe I can show you a sneak peek of that. But monthly themes are great because it helps create, your content organized. It creates the cohesiveness to your content. So say someone's got a fitness business, and so, new year, I think new fitness goals is a good idea for January. And so everything that we would post about that month would ultimately lead back from that theme. Because what I found that was happening when I was kind of brain dumping the content pillars and content ideas, or buckets as you could call them, it was hard. I mean, there's so many places you can go. I think I would have hundreds of ideas in these Google Sheets of ideas on putting content that I wanted to put out there. And so if I created a monthly theme, it started to create that organization that I love. I love to be organized, and the cohesiveness. So, for the month, maybe on the front end, you couldn't tell that this was our theme, because I'm not saying like, hey, here's the theme for the month, everyone. But at least they could start to, it was just organized, right? So it's not all over the place for your audience too. And so I love monthly themes. That's a good idea to start including with your business, especially as you kickstart 2024. And then make sure you're doing a mixture of types of content. So you've got single posts, carousels, which are just multiple images. You've got reels and videos, different types of content, just making sure that you've got that mixture. And then I like timely days and events. So we're all here for GEWKC this week. Yay. Who's attended like 5 sessions? 10? 10? Anyone 10? Okay. All right, cool. Well, thanks for your support. Yeah, go with GEWKC. So this is it's Global Entrepreneurship Week. So there are definitely cities throughout the world that are celebrating this week, entrepreneurs. So pat yourself on the back for supporting you by being here today. But it's great. I love to capitalize on trends and some of these national days. So there are calendars you can Google, like national day calendars that you can see when those national days are coming up. I literally think it's nationaldaycalendar.com is one of the ones that I use. And then including a mixture of that into your content. That's a great way because if you're in an industry, you know, and like your KC source link and it's GEWKC, they jumped on this because they're here to support entrepreneurs. And so if you're in an industry and there's a national day and you don't know about it, you're missing out on the opportunity of getting in on that conversation and being an authority in that industry. So general rule of thumb for me, because there's National Day for everything. It's actually quite comical looking at the national days. It is comical, yeah. But I always say, you know, no more than 2 to 3 a month. And some of those, I might have them on the calendar, but it doesn't mean I spend a lot of time emphasizing them online unless I want to, you know, just say, hey, heads up, it's National Coffee Day, go grab your cappuccino or something. But again, it depends on the industry that I'm marketing for. And I always make sure that the national day aligns with that industry and the businesses I'm representing online. So, and then, you know, make sure you include your industry events or any holidays or trends that are coming up on social media. All right, I think I gotta kick it up a notch. Monitoring and analyzing. So we want to make sure our efforts pay off. I mean, a couple people raised their hand when I said data, statistics. Who here likes to see data and statistics? Do you measure? Okay, no one. Okay, cool. But the importance of measuring is so that you can know that your efforts are paying off. Because again, I asked earlier, who here wonders if all the time and energy you're spending on social media is actually working? Well, if you're not measuring, you'll never know. You might know if you're just looking at the likes and comments, but that's only a portion of the picture. And so I talk about the importance of monitoring, which I'm definitely going to skate over this, so I have time for questions after. But you want to evaluate your efforts on social media, and then it's great to also gain insights on your demographics and your audience. And then you want to identify what content is performing really well. So I find lots of things when I'm going through this strategy and creating that, and then presenting it to clients, and they had no idea that this was their top performing post, and it might not even relate to their business, but people are engaging and interacting because they're creating those authentic connections. And then there's some metrics that I listed here, which are also in the glossary, like engagement, reach and impressions, click-through rates. So there's all different types of metrics that you want to analyze. And so when you refer back to this slide, you might, you know, look into these a bit more as you go to explore Facebook Insights, Instagram Professional Dashboard, or any of the other platform insights. And then there are tools. I showed you Facebook, I showed you Instagram a little bit, but you can also use social media management tools. I have a couple, so I have a resource guide that you can download when you get the slides that has a few that I recommend. But that's a great way to analyze. So I pull reports each month. I have a dashboard as well, so you can get really visual with it. But content calendar, review what content's working. So high performing posts, I talked about that. And then A/B testing, especially in the beginning as you start to post more and more on social media, you're really just testing, aren't we all? I mean, I'm constantly just testing. And I would say it takes about 3 months of being consistent for me to begin to get a good idea of what people are interacting with and engaging with the most. So this says, you know, and I think defined A/B testing in your glossary, but involves trying variations of captions, visuals, so doing different types of content. I also brought up too, as I was presenting this to my mom and practicing, that, you know, the power of 3. So I always take one bit of content and I'll do a short caption, a long caption, and then a video. So you've got the same type of caption, but you're hitting different people with everything. Me, for instance, this will pop up in the latest trend section, short form caption is king in my life because you should see how I scroll. I mean, it's crazy. So if you got about 1 to 3 seconds for your audience to engage with you, then you got to capture them quick. So just think about, you know, being able to post the same type of content 3 different ways. So maybe that's one key takeaway, write that down. And then feedback, ask your people. They want to be asked questions. They want to know that you care about what they're seeing because they're following you. So they obviously want it to be good. So just ask. It's no big deal. We do that a lot when I start out working with my clients too. I'll put out a couple polls, a couple surveys. And the feedback sometimes, I mean, this is what I do every day, is better than what I come up with. So I will definitely like to ask them, the audience, when you can. So just a reminder there. All right, 2024. All right, here's the social media landscape for 2024. I have a few sources I included for this information as well, and a report. So SEMrush does a guide and a report for social media every year. So that is included in the resources that you'll get after this conversation. But TikTok and LinkedIn will become top performing platforms. Reels will continue to be on the rise for Instagram. SEO, I found this fascinating as I was doing my research, but it'll become more powerful on social media than hashtags are right now. So we've used hashtags as SEO, as our keywords, where we want people to start to find our content, but including, if you do some keyword research for your business, starting to include those keywords on your social media content is going to be a good thing to keep in mind for 2024. And then video captions are paramount. I won't watch a video with video captions because I'm usually listening in public where I probably shouldn't. So video captions, make sure you've got those included for accessibility. And then commerce on social media will increase as well with some of the information I read. LinkedIn becomes more personal. We've definitely seen this now that, after 2020. So LinkedIn becomes more personal. And then short form and bite-sized content dominates. Yes. So remember that. It doesn't have to be, a story on social media. It can be, especially if that's what your audience relates to. But like I said, the rule of three, just do short form, long form video when in doubt. Decentralized, I see you. Decentralized networks. So censorship, it's been a topic of conversation for a while. So decentralized networks are becoming alternative to mainstream platforms. So those will continue to be on the rise. Nothing like, I think we needed to talk about yet this year, but maybe next year, we'll never know. Or I guess we'll see. But user-generated content is on the rise. Gen Z, high quality is still definitely in, high quality photos, high quality videos, but user-generated content, so content that your audience is generating even, that will continue to be on the rise in 2024. And then in years prior to this year, a lot of followers, so I worked with a business where they bought their followers, and we didn't find out until we did a strategy and an audit. Yeah, he didn't know either. That was great. So someone prior to me and that skewed a lot of things on his social media, so that was really challenging. But that is some of why the key performance indicators or some of the data is shifting to focus more on engagement for 2024 and shares our engagement. But maybe those are two of the objectives that you might want to keep an eye on as you're looking on social media. How are people engaging with your content, and are they sharing it? Share worthy content is what I've heard before. So, and then AI, I had to dedicate a whole slide to it. So it is going to continue to be used to improve the workflow, scheduling posts, monitoring, routine tasks, and then generating copy for social media. And then it also is great for audience insights. But there was an important thing to note, and I actually didn't include this. This was from one of the sources. So generative AI, just a quick note, it can't physically replicate, the human connection, which is something is important to my business and my brand. So I do use AI for some things, but it does change the voice. It does change the energy of it all, and it does change the connection aspect, which is really important and what my business is founded on. So just be mindful as you're using AI. It'll continue to be on all of these management platforms, and we'll just continue to see a rise. But I think soon people will be able to tell what's generated by AI and what's generated by an actual human, because there is a difference when you're in this industry. So just a quick note. Okay, Q&A. Cool. Thanks, guys. I got a clap for you too. Thank you. Okay, yes, we've got a few minutes, right, Jake?
Yep, 15 minutes.
Okay, cool. I saw your hand first.
I have two questions.
Okay.
First question, is social media the best way to do influencer outreach? That's one. I don't know if you want to answer it in there.
Yeah, I do, so I don't forget because my brain's everywhere right now. So yeah, let me influencer. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, most influencers are online. I mean, so they utilize social media as their main marketing tactic. So yes, that's just the shortest answer. Yes.
Okay. Second question is, like, I tried the scheduling tool
Yeah.
to like auto post, and I can't remember how it worked, but I remember like not a lot of the tools were allowing me to auto post on Instagram. Has that changed, or are there any tools that allow you to auto post content like on Instagram?
Yes. You might just have to. So when they change their community standards, you sometimes have to update those. It's called like a token. So there are some times where I'll get kicked off, like from my social media management tool. All you need to do is reconnect it, and you basically have to re-accept the terms and conditions because those will update. Yes, and that's happened to me a few times before. Yeah.
You can actually schedule from your Instagram platform now. It's in advanced settings when you go to post. And it allows you to schedule from your Instagram app if you continue to have an issue with the service provider you're using for scheduling.
Yeah.
You can do reels, posts, all of it.
Yep.
28 days out, not further than.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's awesome.
Could you give us ideas of some of those tools that can actually post on multiple platforms?
I have that. So, okay, once you get this email emailed to you, you click on this button. I have a ton of resources for you, and there is a resource toolkit. That's the name of that. I've got anywhere from where can you create graphics, where can you create captions, where can you get stock images, and then yes, the management tools are there too.
Jumper off of what they're talking about, do any of the schedulers actually allow you for stories on Instagram to add stickers, music, hashtags, stuff like that? Because right now I'm using Later and it will let you add a caption, but you can't add any of the interactive stuff that I know pushes it up in the algorithm.
Nope, not that I'm aware of. And that is due to Instagram's like token, like their community standards, and they have to have, you know, special terms and conditions when they're outsourcing those tokens to management tools, and no, that is not included, at least not that I know of.
So you're basically better off posting it from Instagram.
Yep.
You can't go in and edit it after the fact.
Yep. Yeah, and I hide my hashtags behind the post and everything, so I do a lot of all of my stories from the platform specifically.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question though. Did you? Okay.
I own a branding agency, so
Okay.
we focus on graphic design and brand voice.
Cool.
First issue is a lot of clients come to us assuming that we do social media. I do not want to get into, I don't even want to do my own social media. So I tell them no.
Yeah.
Once we've established their brand voice and their brand identity, they get a little bit stressed that when I hand them off or refer them to a social media company, that it's not going to look and sound like them. It won't feel authentic. And some of our clients have been burned in the past and said that it just got passed to a 16-year-old and I could tell it was written in her voice, not our voice. So do you have any tips that we can use to sort of ensure that that relationship is authentic, or that we can use to ensure that our clients feel confident in the
I definitely have someone I'd recommend. I'll give you my business card afterwards.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, do you have a brand guide and everything's outlined?
Yeah.
No, aside from just really picking and choosing, there isn't something
Okay.
that I would recommend. I mean, personally, I'm just really particular about that
Okay.
for my own business too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have any other
No, that's
recommendations
okay.
than that, aside from giving the guide and having the right conversation.
Yes.
And maybe even an intro period too. I've heard about that, right? It's 30, 60, I want to try this out. Let's see how it goes. And then approve the content ahead of time, or have your business approve the content ahead of time. Yeah, and so some clients require that for me, and most actually don't require that for me. They're like, take it away.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can I offer an idea to that?
Yeah.
So this is just maybe completely random and off the cuff, but I wonder if there's some cultivation that you could do with partners that you trust to do social media. So whether is your name Kelsey? I'm assuming.
Yes.
So whether it's like Kelsey's company or anybody in here that does social company, that maybe you're cultivating that a little bit ahead of time, even to the point where like those agencies are on the calls that you are working with your client on.
Yep.
So that to keep using Kelsey as an example, Kelsey's part of your whole process.
Yeah.
Kind of like a team member, and then you hand it off. They're already spending the money with you. Hopefully that would encourage them to continue spending that money. Almost like know, like you could say,
Yeah.
here's your preferred social media vendors in these 3 price points. Woo-hoo!
Yep.
So, I mean, that's just a thought.
No, that's great.
I think I have time for one more. Okay, yes, I did put you off. And we can chat after.
Okay, so this is sort of a self-serving question, but as a photographer amongst photographers in the room, can you share your perspective on how important imagery and quality imagery is?
Well, I think as finished as you're giving it to your clients is as finished as it should be showing up online, 100%. Is that what you're asking?
A little bit.
I mean, because you have the graphics. You don't even have to go get stock images. I love that.
That's what I do, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, for everyone else in the room, you're cheating.
Oh.
When you're picking content to
Oh.
post, how critical is it what that image looks like and the quality?
Well, you're a unique case. Bye, guys. Thank you. Yeah, you're a unique case. Like if you are a photographer, and for those in the room, because you've got the high quality content. If not, I mean, really, like I said, user generated content, the content that you're taking from your cell phone, as long as it's not blurry and you're not giving everyone, making everyone sick watching the screen, that's fine. That still is actually content that connects more than the stock images that I pull, honestly. Every time I pull stock images, that and create graphics, they don't go over well. It's the ones that I'm taking from my phone that go over the best. Or I'm having the clients send to me, stuff like that. And it depends on your brand too, and how professional your brand is. I have a matchmaker I work with, and she works with millionaires. And so, we have to have a very elevated approach to her brand. So we do a lot of graphics because she also can't show her matches and stuff like that. But it just depends. I would say for you, high quality images, yes. But for everyone else, your phone works. It works great. For every other entrepreneur in the room, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Go. Everyone else is sticking around.
Paid social media.
Paid. Yes.
So as the social media comes over my stuff, the moment I see a sponsored tag on it, I just scroll past. However, quality content is. So you can read it.
It depends. Again, I mean, that should be the subtitle of my social media workshop. It depends. I mean, I think one of the marketing statistics is you have to touch people like 7 times before they make a decision to buy with you. So it depends on your industry. I think I see a lot of product goods, pay on social media a lot. I know that when I visit certain websites and they stalk me on social media, after a while, I'm just probably reporting it as don't show me this again because enough is enough. But the strategy that I use with more of my clients is kind of on the lower end of, we want to spend $100, $250 a month maybe on paid social media. So we actually might be boosting their page to expand their audience because I'm usually working with a lot of businesses that could use the expanding of their audience, their followers, so that people can start to see their content again. And so that's the strategy I usually start with on the forefront for the paid. I don't do a ton of paid, at least not right now with the clients that I'm working with. If you can work it organically, for 10 years, I've been doing it organically. It can be really successful. So, and that's what people really relate to a ton. So, yeah. I hope that answered your question in a roundabout way. All right, and then I do have an offer, so if you didn't get what you wanted today and you want to chat with me further, I have a special consult price offer, and I think it's on the back of one of the piece of the papers. So feel free to schedule a consult with me. Otherwise, I'll send you the resources, and you can email me if you have any questions or come up after the conversation. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.